grants panel. First of all, may we have apologies for absence?
If I just start with a bit of an introduction on the meeting today. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Sedgemoor District Council's Grants Award Subcommittee. I'm Rose Stokes, acting as the committee manager today. The meeting is being held as an advisory meeting and will make recommendations to support the Leader of Council to take the final decision in line with powers invested in the Leader in the Constitution. For each application, we will ask members to propose and recommend a course of action, and these will be sent to the Leader of Council for his determination. Hopefully those present will be able to see and hear the meeting. However, in the event of a technical failure, the chairman will adjourn the meeting and set a new time for its reinstatement. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, a copy of which will be available on the council's YouTube page in the next few days. All members of the committee should have their cameras on but remain muted until invited to speak. If members of the committee wish to attract the chairman's attention, please raise your hand or indicate in the chat box. All members of public will remain muted, and if they could turn off their cameras until they are invited to speak, if they've registered to speak, at which point the chairman will let them know when they can make their presentation. And the format of the meeting will be as per the agenda published. Chair, did you want to ask the councillors and officers taking part to confirm they can see and hear and introduce themselves?
Thank you. For the benefit of our visitors, would everyone introduce themselves? If I start with calling forward as they appear on my screen, at the top is Graham Godwin Pearson. Would you introduce yourself to the visitors, please?
Most certainly. Graham Godwin Pearson. Oh, I just turned my camera off, I think. Apologies. I'm the district councillor for Axvale Ward, and I can hear and see everything.
Thank you. Dorothy?
Apologies for the delay there. Dorothy O'Farrell, legal advisor to the committee, Sedgemoor District Council. And I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Emmeline?
Hi, I'm Emmeline Kay. I'm the Small Grants Officer for Sedgemoor District Council, and I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Charlie?
Yes, good afternoon. Charlie Richards from Cheddar and Shipham. I can see and hear you all.
Thank you. Brian?
Yeah, Brian Bolt, ward member for Cannington and Wemden. I can see and hear the meeting.
Thank you. I'm Janet Keane, portfolio holder for communities, wellbeing, climate change, and I can see and hear every member present. Julie? Your sound improved. You're muted on the computer. Still no sound, unfortunately. Emmeline, are you able to advise Julie on how to get the sound through on her phone rather than on the PC?
Julie, if you've got the Teams as an app on your phone, you might be able to join separately via your phone. If you tried that avenue? Yep. Okay.
Or I can invite you in via your mobile if that's easier. In the meantime, yeah. I'll get that.
I apologise to our visitors for this. It's only in the last week that our computer systems have gone to a completely new system, and we are still actually getting bedded in. Is that it? 3894 is the last four digits. Still no sound, Julie.
Oh, I can hear you now.
That's it. Thank you. That's quite clear.
Lovely.
Thank you. So, in which case, let's begin. Apologies.
Just to let you know, I can see and hear you too.
Oh, sorry, Polly, I didn't.
Polly Costello, Webmore and Mark, thank you.
Rose, may we have apologies for absence? I don't think you can hear me, obviously.
I can hear you.
Rose?
I can hear you.
Rose has just said that she's unable to unmute at the moment.
Okay. As far as we're aware, unless any information has come in during the lunch hour, we have only had one apology for absence, and that is Councillor Liz Perry, who is the Vice Chair of this committee, for a work commitment. So we proceed. The next item on the agenda is the minutes of the last meeting, which was held, well, there's two lots. There's one in 7th of June and 19th of July. Reading through it, I couldn't find anything wrong. So if anyone has got any matters of accuracy, would you please say so? Otherwise, then I will ask for a proposal we accept them as an accurate record of proceedings. So, no, in that case, that is accepted as an accurate record. The next item is urgent business. I have not been notified of any urgent business. And public speaking time, it is our custom to invite our visitors to speak at the time when their application comes up in the sequence. Declarations of interest on matters within this agenda. Does anyone have any declaration to make on the members? No, neither do I. And then item 6, we come to the grant applications. So, members, as you've all seen, we only have £810 left in the kitty. But the grant applications total today is 4,300. So I wonder if our solicitor has suggested that perhaps we discuss each application, but without making a decision at this stage, because members' views on each one would be critical, and trying to be as fair as possible to all applicants. And the order in which you see them on the paper is the order in which each application has arrived at the office and been assessed. So the first one is Benji Kingston, and I believe Benji's mother is here to represent him.
Good afternoon.
Mrs.
Yes,
Kingston, good afternoon.
Hello. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Benji. I'm asking today for help with funding for his ballet training. He's currently with the Royal Ballet School in London, and he goes there every Saturday. So as you can imagine, that's quite a big outlay. And as you can see the fees in my application. You were very kind and did allow funding for him last year. And so we are hopefully hoping that you will be able to fund him again this year. To give you some background, Benji is 13. He's been dancing for about 6 years now. He dances locally with Fox King Dance Academy in King Square, and he does a whole genre of dancing: ballet, tap, modern, contemporary. But ballet is his love, and his aspiration is to be a professional ballet dancer with the Royal Ballet in the Royal Opera House in London. That's what he wants. obviously we have a long way to go, but he is on the Royal Ballet School's mid-associate programme. That means that every Saturday we take Benji to London on the train, and he has to do his homework on the train. And then he has 3-hour class at the Royal Ballet School, specialist male training. There's 16 boys in the class. And this is his second year now. They do have assessments every spring. We're hoping if he passes in the spring that he will get a third year there as well. As you can imagine, this is a big commitment for him and for us as parents, not just financially, but time as well. And I have to say, I'm so proud of Benj. I know this is what he wants to do, but he never complains. It's an 11-hour day. We leave the house at 7:30 on a Saturday morning. We don't get home until 6:30 in the evening. It's a full day. And the things he has to give up, you know, from socializing with friends and parties and normal teenage things, has to go by the board so that he can do this specialist training. But say that is what he wants to do, and he's happy to do it, and we're happy to support him. And I say we're very grateful to yourselves for supporting him last year, hence our coming again this year in the hope that you will support him again if possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Kingston. We also are proud of all our children who aspire to such things. Members, do you have any questions or observations you'd like to ask Mrs. Kingston? No, that's very, very clear, and it's...
Yes, sorry, I put my hand up.
Pardon, Charlie? Sorry.
Yes, I put my hand up, Chair.
Sorry, yes, I can just see it now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear about Benji's progress. Can you just give us sort of a foresight of where he, if he qualifies again in the spring tests? I mean, does he before too long go full time into this? Is that the normal pathway?
Yes, they will take full-time students from the age of 11. So he could have auditioned a couple of years ago to go in at year 7, but he didn't want to leave home. And I have to say, we didn't feel he was ready to leave home yet either. So yes, any stage from now on in, he could apply to go residential if he so wishes. It's only this year that he actually went in the summer, that he had a residential summer school. So he went to the Royal Ballet for a week in the summer and he loved it. And we thought that was a nice taster. So now he's got the taste for it. He's thinking of, yes, applying to go residential in the near future. But he hasn't as yet, but that is his hope.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from members for Mrs. Kingston? Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Would you please stay on the line?
Of course, thank you.
Now, our next applicant is a child, Isabel Curd. I understand that Isabel is not represented here today. Is that still the case?
I believe so, yeah, I believe so.
Thank you. Members, you've seen the detail of this, and in fact, Isabel's age, I think she's just 5 years old. Members, would you like to make comment or questions? Emmeline has had more background information from the applicant's parents to clarify any thinking you may have regarding this one. Oh, everyone is quite satisfied with the level of the background information here. And we've all sort of studied and considered very deeply. Well, our next application is Seeds of Hope. And I believe we have a representative, Chris. Would you care to lead members through the detail of your application?
Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody. Seed of Hope is a not-for-profit social enterprise that helps people with mental health problems. We have been based in Sedgemoor for the last 8 years, where we started work in the Walled Gardens of Cannington. And our mental health group is based around being outdoors in nature, working together as part of a team, gentle exercise of gardening, and nurturing living plants and environments. We work mainly in community gardening spaces. So within Bridgewater, we've been working in Texas Garden, helping at Westfield Church, and with the Friends of the Meads in just at past West Street. We also have a growing space at Avalon Priory, which is just off the Bath Road on the way to Glastonbury. It's that strange castle-looking building that everybody drives past and goes, I wonder what that is. And that's one of our big growing areas. So we're a mental health group that does gardening, is us in a nutshell.
Thank you. Now, members, are there any points of clarity or additional information you would like from Mr. Scotting? Just a passing thought from myself. Are your members or your administrators in touch with the Somerset Wildlife Trust? Because they do have a lot of schemes, including things like auditing of species, which is very, very helpful in knowing what we're losing, what we're gaining, and what to do about it.
Indeed, we're working closely with Somerset Wildlife Trust. We're really interested in what's going on at Honegar and hoping that we'll be able to volunteer there and help with the wilding of Honegar Farm, if you're familiar with that project. We've also got a wildlife project we're engaged with Puriton Parish Council, and we've been doing some work there, recording the species and the wildlife there for the council.
Thank you. Charlie, you'd like to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. Can I ask about sort of monitoring and follow-up of the people that you've worked with? I think you've been going for a while. So do you have a monitoring program in place so that you can tell us something about the outcomes of your programs for people with mental health issues?
Sure, Charlie. I mean, we've been going for 8 years. We do mental health slightly differently. We're about mental health recovery. My background is as a psychiatric nurse, and I know recovery from mental health problems is possible. And that's about living a satisfying, hopeful and contributing life, even with mental health problems. So it might not be a medical recovery, but it is a mental health recovery. We don't tend to monitor people as such, as you say, but we also don't tend to limit people's involvement. So we do have people who are with us on and off for many, many years. We have people who come 2 or 3 meetings and go away and do other things.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions and clarity? In fact, what you've described sounds very much as though it's almost social prescribing, isn't it? Because of the absolute benefits.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I don't know if you're a reader of Gardener's World magazine, but Monty Don wrote very eloquently about it in the last issue. The benefits of gardening on mental and physical health. It's something that's very close to his heart.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to comment? Brian, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. Is this benefiting people from Sedgemoor, or is this a wider area?
We have groups in Glastonbury and Watchet as well, but we're seeking funding for our groups in Sedgemoor. So that's the base in Bridgewater and in Chiltern Polden.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions on that one? Stay on the line, please. Now, our next application is the Burnham Book Festival, and I understand there is no representative here for this application. You will recall that it was an inaugural festival last year, and I believe it was very, very successful. Amongst all the detail here, again, Emmeline would have had a lot of background information and discussions with the applicants. So if you have any questions, perhaps you would address them to Emmeline. From my own knowledge of one of the leaders of this, I know that they are concerned not just with books, but with the literacy aspect of people who are not quite as literate as they would like to be, and the joy of finding another world through the pages of a book. So those are all the applications we've had. And you've all heard the detail of the so does anyone have any specific suggestions as to how this very small pot of £810 should be split, with your reasons? Our solicitor has made one suggestion. It's only for your thought processes, and that is that if each applicant is given, or the two adult applicants, £200 each, and the two children £210 each. But that is only a suggestion, and that actually closes the pot altogether. There's not a penny left. I would value all of your thoughts on this. Emmeline?
Sorry, just to say, it would be for the children, it would be 205 and not 210.
Sorry, my mistake. And your hand is up. Was that legacy? Julie?
Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, that because they're all so lovely, you know, Benji and the ballet, you know, what an amazing opportunity for him. They are all really lovely applications, and it's a shame we can't, you know, that there is only that money in the pot. I personally would want to, I mean, obviously, this is just my own personal thoughts. I personally would want to give a little bit more to Seed of Hope, because I feel that is such an important role in the community at the moment. People are really struggling, you know, with mental health. And I think having a group where people can go, and obviously they can impact more people. But that's just I would also equally be happy with the suggestion if other councillors want to go with that. But I just wanted to say that I do feel that what they're doing, you know, getting people outside, moving, is so important.
I agree. It is a service that probably is a lifesaver for many people. Brian, your hand is up. You're on mute. No sound, I'm afraid.
Is that better?
Oh yes, that is, yes.
Yeah, it's a real quandary, but I think I can't see any other way that we can fairly complete this. I'm finding it a little bit difficult, except divvying it up as been suggested.
It is heart-wrenching because every single application has huge merit.
Yes.
On a personal level as well as on a social level. Does anyone? Oh, Polly.
Thanks, Chair. Yes, from past experience, this has happened before, but with many more applications when we were trying to empty the pot before the end of the financial year. And obviously, Sedgemoor District Council will be no more as of next year. So I think it's absolutely fair that we divvy it up between the four. I don't see any other way to do it. And then at least everybody's going to get something. That's my view. Thank Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't see you. Graham, were you before Charlie?
Probably not. I don't know.
Carry on, but you're there now.
I was just, I'm in agreement with the other councillors. I think as this is our last attempt to help our community and people, I think giving everybody a little slice of the pie is fair.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yes, I'm in broad agreement. I would just make the observation that the book fair has only asked for 800, so if they get 200, that's a quarter of what they've asked for, whereas Seed of Hope have asked for 2,500. I think I might be minded to suggest giving slightly less to Burnham so that we can give a bit more higher up the list. I mean, the book fair, we did give them 2,500 last year, which helped them establish themselves, and one would hope that as they're an established organisation, they would be in a better position now to raise funds. I just throw that into the pot. I don't know what councillors think of that.
You made a very similar suggestion. Would you make a formal proposal with figures?
I would support that. Yeah, I just think it's just like everyone says, it's a shame, isn't it? And we've got to try to do this fairly. It's just that I think in the current time that we live in, Seeds of Hope just kind of comes out, doesn't it? I mean, gardening is not only mental health, but you know, if you're cold and you start doing gardening, you warm up pretty quickly as well, don't you? So also helps with the heating bills. So yeah, to be honest, I would support both ways, but if there was a way to give the Seed of Hope a little bit more, I would be happy.
Thank you. Brian, your hand is back up again. Have you a further thought on this?
Yeah, it's very hard even to pro-rata it. I was trying to do those sums earlier, and I was looking at the bottom line of the various applicants as to who's got what left over, and trying to pro-rata it. Ultimately, it's just so difficult. It's
yes,
a very difficult decision. Yes.
Yes. Graham, you've come back.
Oh no, I think that's a legacy hand actually. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So suggestion was 205 to each child and 200 to each adult. But the amendment to that, Julia's suggestion that the Seeds of Hope and Charlie's, that slightly less to the book fair. Charlie, would you like to actually put figures on that?
Yes, I would say 100 to the book fair, which allows us to give 300 to Seeds of Hope, and the 205 to each of the deserving young people.
Thank you. Is that a formal proposal?
It is.
Polly, your hand is up. Is that seconding?
Yes, absolutely. I'd be really happy with that.
So that is a formal proposal from Charlie, seconded by Polly, that the Burnham Book Fair receives £100, Seeds of Hope receives £300, and the two children receive £205 each. Now, as that's been proposed and seconded in due process, may I have a show of hands as to you agree? Thank you. Is there anyone abstaining? Because I can't see all the screen. Is that a unanimous? Graham, I didn't see your hand.
Yes, my hand was raised.
Thank you. So that is a unanimous decision. So to our visitors, because as you've heard the discussion, to all of you. Unfortunately, we haven't enough to give you what we would like. And we are hugely sympathetic to all of the effort and your work, both of the children and of the adults. So the decision is to award Benji £205, Isabel £205, Seeds of Hope £300, and the Burnham Book Festival £100. I know it's not quite what you would hope for, but that's all we have, and we can't give what we don't have. And I would like to thank you all very much for coming and sharing your very private thoughts with us. And as this is probably the last one, because we have no more money, so there's no point in holding any more meetings in the due schedule. But I'd like to thank all of our members for all of the time. And sometimes it's been quite anguishing to make a decision on so many deserving causes. Thank you all for the thoughts that you've put in. And the comforting thing is that over all of the years you've done this, however little or much we've given, the people benefited, whatever their age and whatever they have used the application for. This is a legacy of Sedgemoor. After we're gone, remember us. Thank you all so much. And now we will pass on to the next item on the agenda. A visitor, if you wanted to stay and hear the discussion, you're very welcome to do so.
I'm afraid I do have to leave. I've got to go back to work. I've got a patient in 20 minutes. But can I say thank you so much for supporting Benji last year and this year. And we appreciate anything that you have been able to give. So thank you for your money, but more importantly, thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. You're very welcome. It's a matter of pride to us that we have got young people with such aspirations, and I do hope that he reaches his goal and goes beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Graham, you have a hand up.
Well, Chair, you thanked us, but I wanted to thank you, perhaps on behalf of the whole committee. I'm not sure, because actually over the years we've been sitting on this committee together, we've had sometimes some quite difficult choices to make, some quite complicated maths to do, and you and the deputy chair at times have steered an able ship. So thank you.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, thank you.
So now we move on to the RLT3 applications. And so I had to print all this off. So I didn't know if I'd get my computer back in time. Item 7. Here we go. Lizzie, would you lead us through this paper, please?
Yeah, no problem, Chairman. We've got 2 applications, one from Limpsham Parish Council and one from Spaxton Cricket Club. I'll just run through briefly because I believe we've got a speaker for each. Limpsham Parish Council would like to extend their inadequate changing rooms. They are requesting 80% of their total project, or they are grateful for anything. At the moment, as it stands, there isn't enough changing facilities for a male and a female team. They're just inadequate for the sports field. And our other application is Spaxton Cricket Club, who would like to erect an essential ball stop netting, which will help with the safety of the public and to stop balls leading astray and hitting anybody that's walking by.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions that you would like that we would? I'm sorry, I should have introduced you. The gentleman here, Ben Rich, 1983.
Yeah, we have got so Sally Ferguson is registered to speak on the Limpsham application and Ben Rich on the Spaxton one.
Thank you. Well, let's take Limpsham first, because it's first on the list here.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Thank you very much for looking at our application. There's just a couple of things I'd like to clear up that I think are misleading. I just want to put correct. The application is actually on behalf of the Limpsham Sports Club, which is central to our village. I'm Sally Ferguson, Parish Clerk of Limpsham Parish Council, who have made the application for them. The application is part of a larger scheme that we have to, as Lizzie said, increase our inadequate changing rooms. But this actual part of the application is for culverting of the Reen, which will be the foundations of the changing rooms. The actual total application, the total cost of the project is going to be in the region, once we've finished, of £100,000. The amount that we have asked for from RLT3 towards the changing room project is 80% of, I think it comes to £6,600 that we've requested. We had two quotes, one for 8,000 and one I think was 8,200. The RLT3 fund has been marvellous for us in the last few years. The last time I applied on behalf of the cricket club was for an artificial cricket strip, which you were very kind enough to give us money towards. The ongoing situation with that is it's been tremendously received by the young people of not just Limpsham, but all the surrounding areas. And we've now got the largest youth squad in the county, we believe. We now really want to make it more inclusive for not only the younger element sports people, but the female element. And we just haven't got adequate sports changing facilities. We just need to enlarge so that we have, at the moment, even the referee and whoever is coming in to work with us, they're having to change in the disabled toilet, which means that the disabled toilet is out of action for other people. And the sports club itself has grown in other ways, not just to do with sport, but it's become a real community hub since the pandemic, because we've now got a community cafe, a not-for-profit cafe opened, which I was instrumental in helping with. And the Climate Change Fund as well were very generous when I applied to them. So we're really starting to get somewhere now. We've managed to change the lighting. We've had a new boiler system, new radiators in the sports club. And since we've opened the not-for-profit cafe, it's gone from being open 1 day a week to 6 days a week. The only day it's not open is on a Sunday. And we're promoting it as well at the moment as a warm space. So it really has become this ultimate hub. Part of the sports club building as well is our community shop. And that has, we do have one paid member there, member of staff, which is the sub postmistress, but the rest of the stuffing there for a shop which is open 6.5 days a week are all volunteers, are all residents in the village. So the sports club itself has become this real hub for Limpsham. I'm happy to take any questions. I think everything else is clear. I just wanted to make sure that you understand that the 20%, if we were lucky enough to get this grant, that would be provided by the Limpsham Sports Club Committee itself and not the Parish Council, although the Parish Council do donate on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a very detailed explanation. Now, Brian, I believe you have a question for Mrs. Ferguson.
No, sorry, Chair. It's really to do with a declaration, so I'll wait for the next one if I could.
Okay, thanks. I've been to that community cafe. Lovely.
Oh, thank you.
The food was lovely.
Good.
That's not a declaration of interest at all. It's merely as a neighbour. Kitty to grant the amount that you've asked for. Am I right, Lizzie?
Sorry, Janet, I didn't hear completely what you said.
There's some buzzing on the line. There is enough money in that particular pot to grant the amount that you've asked, that's been asked for.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes, yes. And everything you've mentioned, it's the warm space, the community aspect of it. That is something that's very dear to most of us. Charlie, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, no, not on the project itself, but just to Lizzie. This will leave 1,000, £112 unspent.
Yep.
You know, I think none of us on this committee like to see us going into the sunset with unspent money. And I know it's not directly committee money as it is with the small grants, but I just wonder if you could comment on, you know, what's likely to happen to that £1,112.
I mean, in all honesty, if it's not spent, it will be lost. So I am happy if everyone on the committee is happy for Limpsham to get the full amount, then it saves it going to waste. Obviously, that is up to the panel. If you decide that's okay, then I fully support that as well. If that is the case, then the total available is £7,712.78.
Right. Okay, I think that's an answer that I was looking for, Chair.
I saw Polly raising her thumbs up. With 3 months to go, or 3.5 months, have you had any indications, straws in the wind, that a modest application is likely to come in for that group?
No, I haven't. I've sent email reminders every 6 months saying that it is coming to an end, and nobody else has even shown an interest in it.
Well, in which case, I think Charlie's proposal is the best way to go for a community that really works very, very hard to provide a valuable service. Is that a proposal? Will you propose that, Charlie? Make a formal proposal?
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm unmuted. Yes, absolutely, definitely.
Thank you, Polly.
Yeah, well, absolutely second that. Let's give all this money away, because there's no point in wasting it and getting eaten up somewhere else. So yeah, give them the lot.
Thank you. Now that's a formal proposal by Charlie that the Limpsham application be increased to £7,712.78, and it was duly seconded by Polly. May I have an indication from all members of whether you accept and agree to this? 2. That looks like a unanimous proposal and has been accepted. Unanimously agreed. Thank you very much. I'm just sorry that we won't be here next year to have a follow-up on this, but certainly you can tell the committee £7,712.78, and that 78 pence is very important.
Yes, and I'd like to buy you all a coffee at the cafe. A coffee at the cafe.
Thank you very much.
Love to have you visitors. Thank you very much, councillors.
Before you go, and this would be probably of interest to Ben as well, for any other projects you've got to do with your sports ground and the facilities, do please consider the Somerset Playing Fields Association. They do give loans. The first year is interest free. Second year is a reduced interest, and it goes on. They also do administer very small grants. I don't know how small, but certainly if you have any further requests, don't forget them. They haven't actually given any loans out in the last year, and they were quite concerned about it. And the person to contact would be the parish clerk for Woollavington. He also administers as secretary to the Playing Fields Association.
Yeah, I know Richard. I know Richard very well. Thank you very much. That's very useful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't have to go if you would like to stay on, but thank you, and it's lovely to
I have to go and walk my dog. It's patting his legs, but thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Now, Brian has a declaration of interest for Spaxton Cricket Club.
Yes, it is within my division. The only part I've taken into it is to direct them to speak with Lizzie. Apart from that, I haven't been doing anything else with that. I don't think that's a problem, is it, Dorothy?
I don't think that sounds like any form of conflict of interest. Emmeline, could you guide us on that?
I think Dorothy's probably the best person on that one.
Dorothy?
Yes, I agree. It's not actually a declaration, but it's worth noting.
Just for transparency.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So please remain with us, Brian. Now, the application is the Spaxton Cricket Club, and we have Ben. Would you take us through your application, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me along. And thank you so far for your consideration and support to date. If it's okay, I'll just give you a bit of an overview of the cricket club as a starting point, and then I believe you have most of the information regarding the project. So we believe we are one of, if not the longest serving village cricket club in Somerset. We were established in 1892. So that makes us 130 years old. So we don't have any active playing members from the initial date, but we do have a couple that have been around for a little while. And we've relied very much on their generosity and volunteering definitely for the last 40 or 50 years. So Keith Bellinger is our club president, and up till very recently was our club captain. And he and his wife Kim have basically run, funded, supported every aspect of the club for the 40 or 50 years that they've been involved. We had a period through COVID where we didn't play, which was obviously a concern for our club, and we were worried at that point that the club may not continue into the future. But with some local support and some transformation in the club with a new committee and some new members, we've embarked on a 3-year plan to transform the club, which will introduce junior and women's cricket to the area as well, is our plan. With the standard of the cricket improving, the ball stop netting was one of our main priorities. So we live, for those of you that know the ground, there is some very close properties to the ground when we're playing that are adjacent to one end, and they are in very hittable distance from the ground, and often balls do disappear into roofs and some cases windows, which obviously puts residents at risk, as it does any passing by members of the community on match days as well. So it was definitely a necessity for us that we wanted to provide safety in this area. We've looked at multiple quotes and projects here, and it is a very expensive project. So we've looked at a variety of quotes, and the most reasonable one is around £38,000 to erect the ball stop netting going along the end of the ground, which is 90 metres by 8 metres high. We've had to obtain planning, which has just been approved in the last week or so, and granted in partnership with James Venton, who is one of our members, who has acted with the support of the parish council and the village hall to provide the necessary planning application and now permission. And we are in the process of raising and securing other grants and funding for the project. So hopefully with your support today, we'll be almost 50% there. And we have a significant application pending with Viridor as well. Now we've received the planning application. So we hope that with all of the multiple factors involved, that we'll be in a place to hopefully complete the project and install it in advance of the season, the 2023 season in May next year. So thank you so much for all of your consideration and support. I'm happy to take any questions, and thank you for listening to what I've shared.
Thank you for that detail. Brian.
Legacy. Sorry, I just can't switch the things off as quickly as they normally go. Yep.
Right. Does anyone else wish to ask Ben any questions about the project? The application is for £5,266. Does that empty that particular pot for the Quantox, Lizzie?
Yes, it does. Unless you want the remaining 19 pence.
Yes, please.
I've got 19 pence on. I don't want 1 penny left for the new council.
Yep. So £5,266.19 is available in that cluster pot.
Thank you. It's very gratifying that your summary, Ben, mentions that it's the juniors and the women's cricket that you want to bring on. And I know Somerset County Cricket Club does have a cricket foundation, and yes, they are very, very keen on this.
Yeah, we're working very closely with the foundation for the coming season to introduce women's softball and All Stars and Dynamo. So 100% something we're very aware of, and we have lots of support from them already. So we're hoping that will continue into the future.
Thank you. Members, any further questions or comments for Ben? No, in which case I'll propose that this application is awarded the full amount of £5,266.19. May I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I'll quite happily second that, Janet. Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone wish to make any counter suggestions? In which case we'll go to the vote. Will members please indicate that their agreement? That looks unanimous. That's a unanimous vote. Thank you very much, Ben, for your time here. And
you're very welcome.
Your application is granted at the full amount, £5,266.19.
Thank you so much to all involved, and thank you for your kindness as well. Much appreciated.
Thank you. And perhaps in 10 years' time, it would be rather nice to see some of your younger members now, names in big, big letters on the England team when they are crashing the Aussies.
That would be amazing. That would be
it
amazing.
would be wonderful. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much.
So thank you all members. Now there's one more item on the agenda, and that is the RLT2 funding. Let me turn it over. That is really to note. Came out back to back. Lizzie, is there anything you would like to add to the papers you've circulated?
No, I don't think so, unless anybody's got any questions.
That have been requested and the various explanations.
Sorry, Janet, I only got half of that sentence. What can you repeat, please?
I asked if anyone had any questions or comments concerning the information given on the amounts that were requested and the explanations for their use. Yeah, and we said it's been noted. Is there any money left in that pot at all? RLT2.
So RLT2 is divided up into specific parishes. So there are a couple parishes that do have some money available, but most parishes have used them up.
Yeah. Oh, on the back page. Some parishes can actually share what they've got left with a neighbouring parish, but it has to be an actual neighbour, not someone way across the district.
No, so that we kind of, for example, Burnham-on-Sea, we wouldn't necessarily spend in Bridgewater because the Burnham-on-Sea residents won't benefit from that. But a neighbouring parish or in close proximity is absolutely fine. I just need written consent from both, and then I can swap money around.
Polly, is this to do with the project that is close to your heart?
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah. I've just actually reminded the clerk at Wedmore to write to Chapel Allerton and to Weir, because they've both got some money which I don't think they can use.
Okay.
But I know it's the case that I can't have it from anywhere else, can I? Unless they're neighbouring.
No, I'm just looking at my list, and I mean, Bordrip's got nearly £12,500, but I don't think I can spend it in Wedmore.
No, I think I've had these conversations before, but never mind. But if I can get a bit more, then that's great. But
yeah, I mean, Chapel Allerton has £700.
Yeah.
Weir has 793.
Yeah, I did email Graham a while ago, and I think he said he was going to talk to his law. Is that right,
Okay.
Graham?
Yeah, I did raise it with them and with Badgeworth.
Okay, and do you know what they're planning to do?
They minuted it.
Brilliant. Okay. That's all right. I've just written to my clerk again and said just please send a letter requesting it.
First to come from the source, right?
Yeah.
Lizzie,
So-
because we are in very unusual circumstances, we've never been here before, never will be again. Is there any way that there can be some flexibility on that neighbourhood or neighbourly rule?
I mean, that wouldn't be my decision, I don't think, at the end of the day. I'd have to look into that for you.
Who would be the senior officer guiding that sort of decision?
I would probably start with Scott Mason and see what he says and where to go to, because I'm not sure off the top of my head. But I can speak with him and see what he says. I believe Polly's had conversations with Scott anyway. But apart from that, I'm not sure.
I
whose
haven't really
decision it
got
would be.
anywhere. All I've been told is that, you know, the kind of, I think Dorothy definitely sent me an email as well saying basically it's set up in a certain way. And I don't know whether it could be changed just because it's a one-off and we're folding. It would be nice to think you could, but yeah, I don't know.
Dorothy, you have some information?
Yeah, I was just going to make the point very sadly, and it does grieve me to have to make the point that Section 106 monies are provided by developers to spend either within the area or close by. So that's why, because it was discussed with Doug, it was discussed with Nick Tate and with Scott as well, and we tried to find a solution and couldn't. That said, if you wish to raise the issue again and for whatever reason you got a different outcome, that would be fine. I think where we hit the brick wall is that it's Section 106 monies that were given for specific purposes, and that's the bit we were finding difficulty overcoming. So yes,
Excuse me a moment.
sadly.
There's a doorbell ringing and I can't move very fast. Excuse me.
Thanks, Dorothy. I think, yeah, I think we've exhausted that option. However, I think I've got something else potentially. I've been having some discussions with Nick Tate, so I'll leave it at that. But I think we, fingers crossed, might be okay. I've just got to get my parish council to stop playing silly buggers now, because there's a couple of them trying to put the spanner in the works about certain things. And the whole point of having a working party on behalf of the parish council is that we did all the work as a committee. We agreed it all. 2 members of the committee happen to be the clerk and the current chair lady. And now they're all saying, oh, well, the rest of the parish council wants some more information about this. So we'll give it to them then, because you're both on the committee. And someone's saying, oh, well, I want the jumps and the skate park to be, you know, the pump track to be bigger. So we don't have room. And if you hold this up, then we're never going to get the money and it'll never happen. So, I'm yeah, a bit frustrated. Pardon?
Where there's a will, there's a way. So I do hope you find a solution.
Thank you. With any luck, we will.
I'm so sorry about that. Oh God. Oh, sorry. I had a fall on the ice yesterday and it really shook me up. I got a bad sprain. So, and of course, if it's 106 money, the developer who produced it is the only one who can say if it can be used somewhere else. Am I right in that? And there isn't really enough time to get hold of it. Some of those will be quite years old. So, Bordrip, would that be out of the way to consider? It's been almost next door to Bridgewater.
Yeah, I'd say that's okay. Baldrip have been emailing me. They have got plans to use some of their money, but I haven't had an application form in yet, but they know that the deadline is coming up. So
there's been a land transfer, a very large area of land off the Bristol Road for football and other outside sporting activities, and there's a very detailed and sophisticated scheme. Rather than send any of that money back, it might be, I wonder if we could consider perhaps offering some of the unspent Bordrip money to Bridgewater. After all, it is almost a boundary, a shared boundary.
I mean, if they put in an application form, I don't see why not. I just need written consent from Baldrip that they're okay for that.
Lizzie, can I ask you a quick question?
Yep.
About the RLT2 funds that have been put aside for us. If the project's not sort of, started, we're still waiting. How do I access it?
All I've been told is as long as I had your application forms in by the end of this year, then it's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
Okay.
Obviously within reason. I think as
So
long as
it
it's
would,
completed
so
next year.
it will be ring fenced somewhere then, would it?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. I just need your applications in, and
You've
it's
had mine though, haven't you? You've got mine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Be approved by grants before the 31st of December, and then the projects are all okay. I'm not
Cool.
quite sure how that works, but that's just what I've been advised.
Because actually, one of the play area company that I've had quotes for, who I'm working with, have actually said to me they'd happily issue an invoice before doing the works for that amount of money if it meant us losing it.
No, you shouldn't lose it at all.
Cool.
That's
Good.
just what
Okay.
I've been told.
All right.
But whatever makes you feel more comfortable, Polly, if you want to get an invoice in, then you can do that.
Okay.
Whatever's best for you.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on the RLT2 list? It's just for noting. In which case, that concludes all of the business for today. And thank you again, every one of you, for your support and the consideration you've given to all of the residents who've come before us. And I declare the meeting closed at 15:31. Thank you and goodbye.